So hi, it's me again. So let's continue with Module 3. And Module 3 has the title Entrepreneurial Competencies, Mindset, and Orientation. And I would like to elaborate a bit on the title. So we have Entrepreneurial Competencies. So for this section, you will now discover your competencies in relation to entrepreneur or to entrepreneurship. And then also, your mindset will be somehow exposed. Of course, your mindset in entrepreneurship will be affected by your orientation, of course, of entrepreneurship. And we have the learning outcomes for Unit 1 of Module 3. 1. Validate your entrepreneurial competencies. So we have to validate. So ano ba ang pananaw nyo sa pagiging negosyante nyo in the future? Next, develop your personal entrepreneurial competencies. And that is one beauty of this section. You will now be encouraged to develop your personal entrepreneurial competencies. Kasi syempre, nasa college pa lang kayo, tapos kurso nyo, yung iba sa inyo nasa NatSci, yung iba sa inyo nasa engineering, yung iba sa inyo, iba rin yung course. Siyempre, hindi yun yung orientation nyo. But as I have mentioned in the very first module, anybody can be an entrepreneur. Kasi kahit anong course pa tayo mag-graduate, pwedeng maging fallback natin ang pagnenegosyo. Okay? Kaya dito sa unit na to, at least may expose. Ano ba ang aking orientation or ano ba yung aking leanings regarding entrepreneurship. And kung merong akong strengths, so pwede kong i-enhance, pwede kong hasain pa yan. Kung meron man akong weaknesses, syempre, mas kailangan kong hasain yung mga weaknesses na yan. Kaya nga, nandun yung second sa learning outcome to develop your personal entrepreneurial competencies. And what you will do in this unit is you will have a self-assessment. It's a self-assessment test. So don't worry, the self-assessment test, walang mali dito, walang tama dito. Okay? And medyo marami yung questions na sasagutan ninyo rito. There are 55 questions that you will be answering. So what I want you to do is, if you will be answering these 55 questions, hindi na ako nag-Google forms for you to answer this para mas madali. Siguro ang gawin nyo na lang is just get a piece of paper, number your paper from 1 to 55, and then for each number, you will be putting the rating that you believe in your heart will match the question given. And sabi nga rito, instruction, answer the questionnaire based on your personal and honest views as there are no wrong answers. No wrong answers. Don't worry. Remember that no one is good at everything. Siyempre, lalo na sa stage ninyo ngayon, estudyante pa lang kayo. Pero yun nga gusto nating ma-develop, gusto nating mahasa. Baka meron naman sa inyo na talagang nandun yung possibility na maging good entrepreneur. So rate each of the 55 statements according to your personal beliefs. So write answers in the spaces provided per number, following the downward pattern. So once you have done rating, compute your score horizontally per competency, taking into consideration the positive and negative signs. Use this scale when rating. Okay, so don't worry about the last section of the instruction. I will be explaining that more later. And ito yung pinaka-scale na gagamitin natin. So if there is a specific question there, and you believe that that question is always true for you, then write 5. If you think not always true, but usually true, then write 4. Sometimes true, you can write 3. Seldom true, rarely true, write 2. And if it is never true, then write 1. Okay? So please take note of that. Anyway, pwede nyo naman balik-balikan itong slide na to. And we have here the 55 questions. So siguro hindi ko nababasahin lahat to para hindi maubos yung oras natin sa discussion dito, but you can just you have to go over each of the questions here. So we have the first 10 questions on this slide. We have 11 to 20, 21 to 30, then hanggang 40, hanggang 50 naman yung nandito sa slide na to, and then we have until 55. Okay? So again, anong instruction ko? Get a piece of paper, number your paper from 1 to 55. So please make sure tama yung numbering nyo, 1 to 55. And then, per question, answer that based from the scale kanina, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Huwag niyong madaliin. This is a self-assessment test. Again, there is no there is no wrong answer for this. Remember, this is what is being true in your minds. Okay? Then, after answering the 5 questions, ito na yung sinasabi dun sa instruction kanina, na yung horizontal. So, ano yung gagawin nyo? Anong ibig sabihin nitong slide na to? Look at the first entry. You will find there may blank, then plus another blank, plus another blank, minus another blank, plus another blank, plus 6, and then is equal to. Okay. And then, for each blank, you will find there a number below it. So, halimbawa, yung unang linya, no? Ang number below that line is 1. Yung second line, ang number below it is 12. Then followed by 23, 34, 45. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin yan? So, ang ilalagay nyo dun sa first blank is your answer is in question number 1. So, halimbawa, yung question number 1, ang sagot nyo, 3. So, ilagay nyo dyan, 3. And then, go now to question number 12. Kung ang answer nyo sa number 12 is 4, so, sige, mag-compute tayo. So, kung 3 yung una yung sagot, and then 4 yung sa number 12, and then, let's say yung sa number 3, let's say sa number 23, number 23, let's say ang sagot mo dun is 2, and then followed by 34, let's say sa 34, ang answer mo is 3, and then sa 45, let's say ang answer mo is 5, and then meron ng sagot dun sa last blank, that's 6. So you just need to add kung ano yung lumabas. So, dun sa example na yon, if I will add the scores, we get 7, 9, minus 3 is 6, plus 5 is 11, plus 6 is 17. So, after the equal sign, your answer there is 17. So, 17. So, yung 17, that is your score for the classification opportunity seeking. May explain later on kung anong ibig sabihin yan. Yung opportunity seeking, yung persistence, commitment to work, etc. So, ganun din yung susunod. Again, please be mindful. Merong plus, merong minus na nakalagay doon. Please follow the signs given. So, halimbawa, yung sa pangalawa, ano yung titingnan ninyo? Yung sagot nyo sa number 2, sagot nyo sa number 13, number 24, number 35, number 46. And then just compute whatever score you get there, that will be for the persistence. Okay? So just follow the pattern. There will be 10 competencies that you will find here. Personal and entrepreneurial competencies or PECs. There are 10 PECs that you will find there. So just follow yung numbers below each blank and just place the value that you have given doon sa specific question kanina. And then, so yan yan, ano? So yung last doon sa PEC is the self-confidence. After doing each PEC, you now add your 10 PECs. And that will give you your total PEC score that you find dun sa medyo lower right nitong slide na to. You find there, diba? Total PEC score is equal to. So, saan mo kukunin yung total PEC score? Diba? 10 yung nakita. So, paki-take note lang ha. Kasi, kung babalikan natin yung previous slide, na inulit ko lang yung systematic planning and monitoring. Kasi para hindi lang maputol yung slide, inulit ko lang. Pero please take note, 10 lang yan ha. 10 PECs lang yung given. So, after taking your total PEC score, just take note, siguro bilugan nyo yung total PEC score nyo. And then, meron pa tayong isang i-compute. Same thing ang gagawin dyan. Get your answer in number 11, minus your answer in number 22, minus your answer in number 33, minus your answer in 44, plus your answer in 55, plus 18. And whatever total that you get there will now be what we call the correction factor. The correction factor. So, pakitandaan lang, correction factor yan. Next slide. So, what will we now do with those scores? The PEC Self-Rating Questionnaire Corrected Score Sheet. Ano yung instruction? The correction factor, remember yung sa last, yung 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. So this is used to determine whether or not a person tries a very favorable image of himself. So paano i-interpret yan? If the total score on this factor is 20 or greater, then the total score on the 10 PECs must be corrected. So again, pakibasang mabuti yung conditional statement doon. If the total score on this factor is 20 or greater, then the total score on the 10 PECs must be corrected to provide a more accurate assessment of the strengths of the PEC score for that individual. So if you're asking, paano kung yung score ko below 20? So if the score is below 20, then you don't have to correct already your score. Diba? O, kasi basahin nyo ulit yung statement doon. If the total score on this factor is 20 or greater. So, yung sa correction factor lang ha. Yung sa correction factor yung tingnan nyo. So, kung ang nakuha mong score doon is 20 or greater, then the total score on the 10 PECs must be corrected to provide a more accurate assessment. Then, use these following numbers when figuring out the corrected score. Let's now go to the next slide. Tingnan nyo kung ano yung na-compute yung correction factor. So, tingnan nyo muna kung ano yung na-compute yung correction factor. Anong sabi doon? If yung na-compute yung correction factor is 24 or 25, so magkasama yan. O kaya 22 or 23, 20 or 20, o kaya 19 pababa. Anong gagawin? Subtract the following number from each PEC score. Okay. So, halimbawa, ang correction factor na na-compute mo, let's say, is 21. So, kung ang na-compute mong correction factor is 21, so ang gagawin mo, babalik ka dun sa bawat PEC and you will subtract 3 from each PEC. Naintindihan ba? Okay. So, halimbawa naman, ang na-compute mong correction factor is, let's say, 17. So, pag ang na-compute mong correction score is 17, it is 19 or less. Therefore, for each PEC score, hindi na magbabago. Okay? Hindi na magbabago kasi nga, ang isusubtract mo rin lang is 0. O halimbawa, nakuha mo 24 dun sa correction factor. Then for each PEC, you will now subtract 7. O tingnan natin yung next table. to the next table. O, itong next table na summarize. Okay, siguro isulat nyo rin itong table na to dun sa papel na pinagsulatan nyo yung 1 to 55. So below number 55, kung nakapag-compute na kayo doon, somewhere, maybe tabulate this. O kung gusto niyo mag-Excel, pwede rin naman. Pwede rin naman kayong gumamit ng Excel if you like this one. Okay, so baba ko lang yung camera section. Tingnan natin dito. So yan yung mga PECs. 10 yan. Opportunity seeking is 1, persistence is 2, commitment to work contract is 3, demand for efficiency and quality is 4, risk taking is 5, goal setting is 6, and so on. So 10 yan. O di ba? Dun sa bawat isa kanina, you have your original score. So i-compute nyo, ilagay nyo dyan yung na-compute nyong original score. And then, after that, the second column, write the correction value. Okay, remember, correction value, yan yung 24 or 25, kung ilan yung isusubtract. Yung 22, 23, kung ano yung isusubtract. So, kung ilan yung isusubtract, yun yung correction value. And then, yung total score or yung original score mo, subtract now your correction value. Diba? Sabi natin, pag yung nakuha mo is 24 or 25, the correction value is 7. So, for each PEC, meron kang original score. For each original score, you will subtract 7. Therefore, after subtracting 7, you will now get a corrected total for each PEC. Naintindihan nyo ba ako doon? So, again, write down your original score based from yung sagot nyo dun sa 55 questions kanina. Yung correction value, pare-pareho lang yung papasok dito sa correction value. Hindi magbabago ito. Kasi kung yung sa correction value mo, ang lumabas 7, puro 7. Pag ang lumabas dun sa correction value mo, puro 0 lang ilalagay mo dyan. So, original score minus correction value, that will now give you your corrected total. Okay. Interpretation. The highest score per PEC is 25. The nearer you are to 25, the stronger you are in that PEC item. So, di ba yung 10 PEC? So, halimbawa, yung third PEC, ang score mo, 23. So, 23 is close to 25. So, it means okay ka dun sa item na yon. Now, the closer you are to 0, the weaker you are in that PEC item. Next, below the average score of 12.5 means a challenge to improve that PEC item. Okay? So, kanina, nabanggit yung strength and yung weakness. So, kung ang score mo is below 12.5, then you have to challenge yourself to improve that PEC or personal entrepreneurial competency. However, I want you to look into your highest and lowest scores to interpret. Your highest score will be your most strong competency and your lowest will be your most weak competency. Okay? So, kaya nga self-assessment yan eh. So, magkakaiba kayo ng sagot dito kasi depende yan kung paano nyo i-interpret yung questions 1 to 55. Next. The 10 PECs. Ayan na. These are key personal entrepreneurial competencies that can determine successful from unsuccessful entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs. These were identified through an intensive research by Management Systems International or MSI and the MacBear team. The 10 are grouped into 3 clusters: the achievement cluster, the planning cluster, and the power cluster. Under the achievement cluster, ito yung mga PECs. Opportunity seeking. Ano ang opportunity seeking? Entrepreneurs seek opportunities to take the initiative to transform them into business situations. In the previous units, nabanggit natin yan, di ba? Pag entrepreneurship ang usapan, we always seek for opportunities. Ano yung mga example na binigay ko? Halimbawa, ngayong nag-lockdown period tayo, na nag-ECQ tayo, nito nag-COVID tayo. Anong opportunities ang nakita ng mga negosyante na pwede nilang i-grab para hindi sila maging idle? So, paano sila makapag-generate ng bagong business? So, halimbawa, ito yung negosyo, dahil ng lockdown, nalugi yung dating negosyo. Anong opportunity ngayon ang pwede kong ma-generate para tumakbo ang bagong business o yung dati kong business? So, yan yung opportunity seeking. Persistence. When most people tend to abandon an activity, successful entrepreneurs stick with it. So, in other words, yung hindi pagsuko kaagad. So, pwedeng yung iba dahil sa ganitong challenge, ayaw na kaagad. Pero pag ikaw, desididong negosyante, you will push yourself harder just to attain your goal. Commitment to work contract. Entrepreneurs keep their promises no matter how great the personal sacrifice. Okay, very important. Commitment to work contract. And ito very important ito. Sa Bible nga sabi yan, let your yes be yes and your no be no. So halimbawa, nangako ka and yung pangako mo, meron pang kontrata yan. You have to fulfill your contract. Halimbawa, ito nag-COVID crisis tayo. Before the COVID crisis, you have entered, let's say, a contract. And then, pumasok yung crisis. So, anong gagawin mo ngayon doon sa kontrata? Tatalikuran mo ba yun? And just give the lame excuse na dahil nitong COVID crisis, hindi ko na pwedeng harapin yung kontrata. Hindi. Ang sinasabi rito, pag ikaw committed to work on the contract, kahit gaano kasakit on your part, pwedeng palugi ka pa, but you have to fulfill that contract. Okay? That's why, ang isa ring napakahalagang lesson na mapupulot natin dito is, if you will now be entering in any agreement, please, pag-isipan yung mabuti yan. Huwag kayong basta pasok ng pasok sa isang kontrata na hindi nyo tinitingnan yung pros and cons. Tingnan nyo munang mabuti, iwi nyo mabuti. Kasi once na pumirma na kayo dyan sa kontrata na yan, wala nang atrasan yan. Hindi pwedeng tatalikuran nyo na yan. Kasi in the real world business, pag kayo nakapirma sa kontrata, hindi nyo finulfill yung kontrata, pwede kayong kasuhan. Okay? Ngayon, paano? Kung ang tanong nyo, paano kung ang nangyari nga ngayong COVID crisis, talaga nagkaipitan? Ano pwede mong gawin? You can work out a compromise doon sa kausap mo doon sa kontrata. Makiusap ng maayos. Siguro na maintindihan, kaya nga makikita nitong COVID crisis, di ba? Meron yung mga naging policies din na ginawa ang gobyerno para makatulong dun sa halimbawa sa rental holiday. That's part of it. Kasi di ba parang ang mga nagre-rent may kontrata yan. So kung ganon, biglang merong pumasok na rental holiday, edi that's an example na pwedeng ma-waive yung contract. So pwede naman makipag-usap. Next, demand for efficiency and quality. Entrepreneurs try to do something better, faster, or cheaper. Okay? And yan yung binabanggit natin last time na pag tayo naging entrepreneurs, we always seek to have something better, to something innovative in our product. Kaya nga, demand for efficiency and quality. Kaya dapat laging merong kakaiba dun sa ating negosyo. That's part of the achievement cluster. Next is taking calculated risk. Taking calculated risk is one of the primary concepts in entrepreneurship. And that's the basic definition of entrepreneurship, taking risk. So you have to learn how to calculate the risk factors. So that's the first cluster, achievement cluster. The second cluster is the planning cluster. Ano na may under planning cluster? Goal setting. This is the most important competency because none of the rest will function without it. Entrepreneurs set goals and objectives which are meaningful and challenging. And pag nagkuhan tayo, it should always be long-term goals. Okay? And hindi ka pwedeng basta sasabak na lang sa gera na hindi ka handa. So, ganun din sa negosyo. Whenever you will start your own enterprise, whether it's micro, whether it's small, medium, or large, you have to set your goals. Ano ba talaga ang gusto kong ma-achieve? Bakit ko pinapasok tong enterprise na to? O itong negosyo na to? Next, information seeking. Entrepreneurs gather information about their clients, suppliers, technology, and opportunities. You have to do your research kung papasok ka ng negosyo. Yung ibang tinatawag rito is feasibility study. Diba? Titingnan nila, talaga bang feasible na magtatayo ako ng milk tea business dito sa probinsyang ito? Napadpad ka sa isang probinsya na ang mga kliyente mo, kaya ba nilang ma-afford yung gusto mong ibenta? Napadpad ka sa, halimbawa, napadpad ka sa probinsya, nag-aral ka rito sa Baguio. Uy, nung pagpunta mo sa probinsya, uy, nung nasa Baguio ako, click na click ang milk tea. Ang milk tea doon, 130. Pagpunta mo sa probinsya, uy, ako palang magtatayo rito. So, tatanungin mo sarili mo, kaya bang bilhin ng kliyente ko itong mga to? Meron ba akong magiging buyers? Ngayon, aside from buyers, papasukin ko to, meron ba akong mga suppliers? Dito ba sa lugar ko, masusuportahan ba ako ng mga gamit? Yan, technology and opportunities. Next, systematic planning and monitoring. Systematic behavior means acting in a logical way. Planning is deciding what to do. Monitoring means checking. Okay? So, yan. Very clear naman. Systematic planning and monitoring. So, hindi ka pwedeng plano ng plano. Kasi once you put the plans into action, you have to monitor. Tumatakbo ba yung plano ko sa tamang direksyon? Bakit? Kasi gusto kong makuha yung goal ko. Kaya nga magkakasama yan sa planning cluster. The next cluster is the power cluster. Persuasion and networking. Entrepreneurs influence other people to follow them or to do something for them. So, kanyan, kailangan sabi nga nila, kaya ang mga taong magaling sa negosyo, ito yung mga mapi-PR. Diba? Yung malakas ang karisma sa ibang tao. Bakit? Kailangan mong mag-impluwensya. Kasi pag ikaw ma-impluwensya sa ibang tao, madaling humatak ng tulong. Madaling, halimbawa, kung nasa pagbebenta ka, mas madaling magbenta dahil magiging malawak yung network mo, mas madaling mag-influence na yung iba kahit hindi pa sila talastas dun sa product mo, pero dahil kilala ka nila, kakagating ka agad nila, di ba, yung produkto mo. Then, lastly, we have self-confidence. Entrepreneurs have a quiet self-assurance in their capability or potential to do something. So, believe na ito pinasok mo, kaya mo, papanindigan mo to the end. Diba? Hindi ka magiging quitter kasi pinag-aralan mo lahat. From the start, plinano mo na yan . So, ito yung goal ko. So, para ma-achieve ko from point A to point B, then I must be confident enough na matatawid ko to kasi pinag-aralan kong mabuti. So, those are the 3 clusters. And yung 3 clusters na yun yung nanggaling dun sa 10 personal entrepreneurial competencies natin. Okay. So, ito na yung magiging activity dito sa unit na to. 1. Internalize the result of your PEC self-rating questionnaire. Determine your strong and weak competencies. So, hindi nyo na kailangan isubmit yan. Hindi nyo isasubmit yan, pero pag-aralan nyo, from the 10 PECs, alin dito yung strong competencies ko? Saan ba ako medyo weak sa competencies na to? And then, elaborate activity. Ito, kailangan nyo itong isubmit. Pero madali lang naman to. Draw an iceberg. Ano bang iceberg? Di ba yung iceberg, malaking tipak ng yelo na lumulutang sa karagatan. Merong portion na nakalitaw sa surface ng karagatan. Merong malaking portion na nakalubog sa karagatan. So sabi nga rito, draw an iceberg describing your competencies. The visible top of your iceberg are the competencies that people can see on you. This is about 2 out of 10 of the iceberg. So kukunin niyo yan from the 10 PECs. So from the 10 PECs, 2 PECs nasa taas ng surface. And then 8 out of the 10 icebergs, 8 out of the 10 PECs will be your competencies that are not easily seen by others. Then label your iceberg. Parang just to give you an illustration, parang sa mga athletes, di ba, mga athletes, ang nakikita ng tao during the competition na lang. So, kung i-describe ko yun sa iceberg, ang napapanood ng tao, yung competition proper. Kaya nasa ibabaw siya ng surface. So, yun yung nasa taas ng iceberg. Pero, hindi nakikita ng tao yung hirap na isang atleta during the training period. Nagle-labor ang isang atleta for hours para mabuild yung endurance, mabuild yung speed, etc. So, yung mga yun yung mga nasa ilalim ng surface. Parang ganun. Yung gagawin sa elaborate activity. And then, under the evaluate activity, identify your 3 most weak competencies through drawings. So, gagawa kayo ng comic strip, illustrate how you will develop this weak competencies. Okay? So, identify 3. Again, from the 10 PECs, identify 3. And then, draw. Then, illustrate how you will develop your weak competencies. So, siguro dito sa evaluate activity, I want you to include here yung last table, yung may yung original score, tapos yung correction value, and then yung corrected value na. Para makita ko lang kung nagja-jibe yung computation nyo with your drawing. So again, itong dalawang part na to will be posted in your Google Classroom. So since hindi naman mahaba yung requirement dun sa previous section at saka sa section na to, all these requirements will be due this week. Siguro yung sa una until Wednesday, and then itong Module 3, Unit 1 will be until Saturday. Okay? So, if you have questions, please feel free to message me. Magtanong lang kayo. You can just send me a private message. Okay? And then, I hope naging clear yung instructions ko kanina kung anong gagawin dito sa self-assessment test. Okay? So, till the next unit, I will again see you. So, I'll be waiting for your activities to be submitted during the week sa ating Google Classroom. Again, stay safe, stay home. God bless you.